Alrighty then.
Hey.
Let's make sure this is going. How do you tell? Oh no, it's on 5 there. Now we're rocking and rolling. There we go.
Hey, my name's Kathy. I'm an alcoholic.
My name's Jessica and I'm an addict.
We are recovered, two friends, one path. And as usual, we're going to start this off with our little disclosure, mission statement, whatever. This is solely our opinion. We are not affiliated with any group and or program. Our sole purpose is to help others fighting addiction and or alcoholism and to offer help and knowledge of how we stay sober. This 100% raw and real. We do cuss, we do tell war stories, we do cry, we do laugh, but we do recover. So, step 11 this week.
We are almost done. We have one step left, Kathy.
Yeah.
We've done a lot. We've learned a lot.
We have.
We've learned a lot. There's been a lot of information. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out because we are more than willing to answer any of these questions you may have. This is solely just for educational purposes. And, if you want to know, please ask.
Yeah. That's part of our next step.
Right. Exactly. So step 11.
Oof.
Right here.
No, I got it.
You can't read my handwriting.
I don't know if I can read period in this lighting. Sought through prayer meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. Praying only for the knowledge of His will for us. His will for us and the power to carry that out.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah. And my eyeballs, I have them somewhat memorized, but every now and then it's like,
It's a lot. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
So,
plus I have it, I hate to say it, but this past couple of weeks with, medical issues, I haven't been able to go to my place that I, stay sober at.
Your program.
There, my program and that's no excuse. There's Zoom, so shame on me. I should have taken my own advice, but instead I just wanted to rest, and now it's like
we both went through that this week, though. Both of us did. We both had, and it's okay to admit sometimes that you need a break.
Excuse me.
Self-care is beyond important, especially for people who are for addicts and alcoholics. That restless, irritable, and discontent can sneak up on you, and it will destroy you. So self-care is always number one. People ask me, I have to go to a meeting no matter what. Well, you should, okay? And, when you least feel like you need to go is probably the time you need to go. However, if you're unable to keep your eyes open because you are so tired, or you haven't seen your husband in 6 weeks, or your children want their mom, you can take a break. It is completely okay to have time to yourself.
But there's always Zoom.
There is always Zoom. So, step 11, sought through prayer meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, praying only for His knowledge and praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So, His will.
Yes.
It's always got to be about Him and His plan, not necessarily ours.
Now, remember in step 2, we created our concept of God.
Correct.
Okay. So you've already done that. You've already got in your mind what your concept of God is.
Mm-hmm.
Naming whatever,
His attributes, all the things He will and will not put up with, those things.
I even got it down. I've told y'all he sounds like Elvis and he's got a crooked grin like Sam Elliott. Yeah, I have my concept of God, and people ask me this, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart, is being spiritually fit.
Mm-hmm.
And people, I say, I can go anywhere because I am spiritually fit. And to some people, they may not believe in that, but to me, being spiritually fit is every morning I drop down. Well, not too often to my knees here lately, my back, but I'll stretch out. And I will do, hey, God, it's me again. You know, I'm going to give you my willpower today. You control it. You do whatever you want to just for today. Just for the next 24 hours. You've done a good job yesterday. But for the next 24 hours, hit a sister up.
Right.
That's why it's called One Day at a Time. So that is me being spiritually fit in my meditation and my prayers. You know, that is my definition of how I am spiritually fit. I'm working programs, you know. I'm doing all the stuff that I'm supposed to do. Let's just say that. So yes, I feel spiritually fit to go anywhere.
My concept of spiritually fit is like you just said, being able to go anywhere. So I'm spiritually fit in the fact that I could sit in a bar room full of 1 million people drinking and I do not have the urge to drink. That in my mind is the outpouring of that. You know, I have the ability to be around something that has destroyed my life and I don't have the urge to touch it. That in my mind is spiritually fit.
I don't either. I have no desire.
It's a beautiful thing when you get to that point. And by now at step 11, you should be there. Prayer and meditation are our means of conscious contact with God. So you need these two tools in your tool belt to be able to have a conscious contact with your higher power.
Daily.
Minute by minute sometimes. And, you know, you can pray anywhere, anytime, at any point you need to reach out to your higher power, you can do so. We are dealing with the reality of life for the first time. And, still trying to help the next sick and suffering person as they come along. That's hard, to just be getting sober and feeling your feelings and getting to know yourself, getting to know your higher power, getting to know your family, because you did all this with clouded eyes originally. Mm-hmm. And you're still trying to reach out and help the newcomer too. And that can be a lot. So consciously contacting your higher power and staying connected is so important for everyone, not just for an alcoholic or an addict, just absolutely anybody, because things happen, fights happen, arguments,
life be
life, and
clean or sober, life be life,
and things happen, and you need to have a conscious contact in order not to have any kind of setback. Sometimes people don't take prayer and meditation very seriously and they put it on the back burner and they're not concerned with it. They say, you know what, I can pray tomorrow or I can meditate tomorrow or when I have time, I'll do it. But it truly is the biggest tool in my tool belt that I carry.
You know, I have been researching various simple, you know, meditation grounded techniques. And I've always said I use the count 10 different sounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is my thing, but my house is so quiet I literally have to go outside to hear 10 different sounds. And I enjoy it because I'm out there listening to squirrels and listening to different birds. It's really good. Sometimes I might be out there for 30 minutes. Sometimes I might be out there for 10 minutes. You never know. So that is mine. If you're in a really noisy place, I would not recommend doing that because
your 10 things will come very quickly.
Yeah. So, you know, that is something, the 5-5-5 box technique. I'm working on that.
Explain that to them.
You go ahead because I need to.
You know, I don't really understand it, so that's why I asked you to explain
5 deep.
Go ahead, take a sip of water.
5 deep breaths, 1 in, 5 seconds, out, 5 seconds, back in. You know what? I may have it backwards.
It's breathing technique.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm learning it, and right now, my mind's scattered. Sorry. It's been a long week, let's just say that. But actually, me and one of my sponsees were talking about different.
There's some on
techniques.
YouTube too that you can use.
Yes, I have Googled them and I found another one, a tapping, technique, and I've been using that some. And then I've been doing the whole brain thing where you're trying to do your ABCs backwards. So there's a lot of stuff I'm doing in my head.
There is no rule to it either, guys. There is no rule to meditation. There are no like boundaries to it. Like you can honestly just sit and think of nothing, and any thought you can blow it away. You can meditate on something, and I'll get to that in a minute. It's not a skill that only like monks and clergymen have. You don't just get a secondhand benefit from it. This can be yours. It's for anybody that wants it. You don't have to wait on somebody to come up and pray over you for you to get the blessing that you're looking for. You can ask for it yourself.
By yourself, on your own, in the middle of Walmart or in the privacy of your own home.
You can do it at Kmart, girl. You can do it anywhere.
Anywhere. The Dollar General, you name it.
You can sit in your car and you can meditate. It's not just for monks and clergymen. It might be hard for agnostics and newcomers to admit that there's a higher power and a use for these two tools. However, even if you are agnostic or don't believe in a higher power, they are still beneficial. I recommend everybody try it. I know that when I first came in here that everything in me revolted against believing in a God and bowing down to one that I felt was judging of me. And that again comes back to step 2 where I had to, I got to understand a God of my own. And
it wasn't hell's fire and brimstone like it was growing up. That's what terrified me of church, and I was never a churchgoer. And I'm sorry, I'm still not today, but I'm getting there. But for right now, that's something I'm working on, is getting there. I still have my God of my understanding, regardless of if I'm active in church or anything.
Just so y'all know, this is not a religious program. It's a spiritual program.
Say that again for the people in the back.
This is not a religious program. It is a spiritual program that you get to build yourself. This isn't going to church and sitting on a pew and having somebody scream hellfire and brimstone, sweating and lurching, doing all the crazy, We're not doing all that. However, that's my personal thing, but we're not doing all that here. You just have to be willing to try. And if you do, you'll reap benefits from it.
You'll get an instant miracle.
It does happen. It does happen.
Your mind is no longer in the hands of an idiot.
And that's me. Just so y'all didn't know, that's what she's talking about. Me.
No, I've said that for the past
I like that.
3 years. That was one of my first speeches at one of my first public speeches.
That's funny. Once we did give in and try it, unexpected events followed. We felt different. We knew different, and that happens to anyone who just tries prayer and meditation and honestly gives it a 100% try. I don't mean go, dear God, help me by. I mean, like, honestly, sincerely try it and see what it does for you. It's got and the effects are different from everyone too. I can't tell you, okay, well, when you sit down and pray, you're going to feel different. You're going to love life and it's great. No, it's going to be different for everyone, but honestly, give it a try.
One of my things I do too is stretching in the morning during, after my prayer, while I'm getting my mind right and stuff like that. I'll do various stretches before I get out of bed. And that right there just helps me, because whenever I'm stressed out, that's the first thing I'm doing is popping my neck and, moving around and doing whatnot, because life be lifing, but I've got
what I'd give to be able to pop my neck. I was in an accident, broke my neck. I haven't popped my neck since. I used to love to pop my neck. Oh my God. It is said that only the scoffers at prayer were those who never tried it. So only the people who made fun of it and thought that it was stupid were the people who've never given it a try. The people who honestly tried it love it. So those of us who have tried it would have no more to do than without it than air or sunshine. So this is what this is saying here is that, once we tried it, it became very essential, as air and sunshine did in our life. When we deprive our bodies of air, food, and sunshine, the body dies. Just like our emotions, our connections, and our spirit without prayer and meditation. The body can do nothing without nourishment, and neither can the soul. That's straight from the 12 and 12. So what it's saying is that, physically we can't do without these things, and spiritually we can't do without these things either. I was very spiritually handicapped at a certain point. I would say I was not spiritual at all, and
I wasn't either.
and I had to really, really search for it. And once I gave it a try, like, this whole new world opened up to me that I didn't know was even there. And it's a beautiful thing when you find that other place. I mean, if I could give anyone the best advice that I can, is seek something other than what you can touch, feel, taste, and smell, and hear. There are more things to this world than your five senses, and it's there. You just have to tune into it spiritually to know it, and you do so with what? Prayer and meditation. There's a direct link between self-examination, meditation, and prayer, and when used properly and consistently, it lays an unshakable foundation for a wonderful life.
Can't have one without doing the work of what you need to do.
That's right.
And I know so many people that said, I've tried prayer meditation, it don't work. If I would have quit doing certain things after it didn't work once, I'd be a broken individual.
Oh, God, yes.
Because let me tell you something. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to find a way. If I don't like one way, I'm not going to throw my hands up and say, screw it, I'm done. That's not me. No, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to Google that shit.
She's not lying.
I'm going to ChatGPT that shit.
I've seen her do it.
I am going to figure the shit out, one way or another. I don't quit until it is solved. I don't sleep well until it is solved.
It's a blessing and a curse, isn't it?
As Monk says, it's a blessing and a curse. But that is what keeps me. Hey, this has got to be done. It's not that it's a perfectionist thing or anything. I take a lot of pride in my work.
Right.
And that,
I think without it, that drive, sometimes that lots of things wouldn't get done. You wouldn't find things out.
No. But, I take my time every morning to do my prayer and meditation. And on the mornings that I oversleep, and that has happened a lot this past week. I had some medicine changes because of my back, and it was making me sleep later. And I found myself waking up later, and I would rush to get the coffee done and rush to get Piper out and stuff like that.
And that stuff kind of goes to the wayside.
Yeah, and then it's like, God, why didn't I do my stretches and do all that? Was it that big of a deal that I couldn't take
5 minutes?
5 minutes. And so now, I don't care what's going on. I'm taking that 5 minutes.
You have to be consistent with it. You got to be committed to it, because if you're not committed, you'll do it 2 days and you'll just quit. You won't go back to it. It's very important to stay committed. Now that these practices, and then with these practices, we are offered glimpses into the ultimate reality, and that's God's kingdom. We are able to stay in that realm as long as we try and stay consistent with our practice.
Mm-hmm.
You will be able to have glimpses of God's kingdom, and whatever that glimpse is, I'm not sure for you. I know what I got out of it. But It is there for anybody who earnestly tries. Once again, don't try it once and throw it away. Don't go in with the attitude that it's not going to work. Go in with the open mind that, hey, I want to try this and it can and will work for me. We all need the light of God's reality and nourishment of his strength and of the atmosphere of his grace. You get that through prayer and meditation. What an amazing thing. Listen to that again. We all need the light of God's reality and the nourishment of his strength and the atmosphere of his grace. And that happens to someone who works the program.
Well, like we said in step 3, that's the concept of our God. So, one of the first things was, God gives me grace.
Amen. And he wants me to give the same grace to others. You can't ask for grace if you're not willing to give it to someone else for anything they may do, Self-searching is the means of which we bring forth that grace. So, action and grace. So, when you start doing the steps and you look at yourself and see what you've done and start making amends and change, that grace comes to you, flows just like a river, because at that point you are admitting your faults and willing to fix them, and God is willing to reward you for such things, and that grace just comes. It's beautiful. It helps us see our darkness and forms our humility. Humility is, again, huge.
Yes.
We want the good that is in each of us to flower and grow, and that happens through working these steps. All right, so I'm going to do a little something here. People want to say, so how do you meditate? Okay, this is just an example. It's not like this for everyone. St. Francis wrote step 11. Okay. And
the step 11 prayer.
The step 11 prayer, often known as the prayer of St. Francis, is the key meditation used in 12-step programs to promote spiritual health, growth, and conscious contact with your higher power. So I'm not going to read all that. I'm going to read you the prayer. Lord, make me a channel of thy... start. Close your eyes, everybody. Get comfortable. I'll give you a second to do so. Get where you feel good. And close your eyes. Just breathe in and out your nose once or twice. Do it one more time. All right. Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, I may bring harmony, that where there is error, I might bring truth, that where there is doubt, I may bring faith, that where there is despair, I may bring hope, where there are shadows, I may bring light, that where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather than to comfort, than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved, for it is by self-forgetting that one finds, it is by forgiving that one is forgiven, it is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. Amen.
Amen.
Whew, y'all, that, in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful things that I've ever heard. And it is the 11th step prayer.
And I may be off on my memory right here, but I want to say Bill actually heard that prayer and had it added. And I may be off because,
No, I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure it was Bill. It wasn't Bob. But Bill, he later on in life, he started working by that prayer.
It's wonderful. So in order to meditate on that prayer, what one might want to do is recite it or read it over and over again. Pick it apart and find meaning in each one of the phrases or how it may apply to yourself. Rest in a quiet place and lie with the thoughts of someone who knows, so we can understand and learn. Sit and breathe. You can breathe in and breathe out and do what Kathy was talking about. And in God's presence, listen to the words again and try to hear each of them one by one. And that is a form of meditation. When you just absolutely sit there and pick apart every little word that I read a moment ago. So, if you want to rewind it, listen to it again. I'm not going to waste time.
Google the step
rewind
11
it.
prayer.
Listen to it.
St. Francis prayer.
And listen to it again. And it is something that you can do to meditate. Meditation helps us envision a spiritual objective before we move toward it, like building a house first instead of making plans for it. So that's a good analogy. Meditation is a way that you can envision where you're trying to go, and it's just like trying to build a house without building plans first. So meditation is the blueprint to your spiritual guidance.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you can tell a difference in a lot of people whenever they meditate versus whenever they don't. You can tell a difference in just the way their attitude is. And there's been people that
I've lacked a lot on it.
and I've been like, did you forget your prayer and meditation today? And they're like, yeah. Like, I can freaking tell.
This was for me today. I have really fallen back on my meditation and prayers in the morning. I've been tired, just like you said. And, it's funny how God works. I really need to get back into mine. And I don't fail to do it every day. I'm just not as consistent as I was. And it's funny how God works, because I needed to hear exactly what we're talking about today. Keep going, Heather, what were you saying?
And, another thing, for people who are on the run in the morning, while you're driving, use that as prayer time.
Don't shut your eyes and meditate, though. Not
use that as your prayer. Put the phone away, turn the radio off, and if you don't have time to do it before work, do it on your way to work. Just
parked in the parking lot before you walk in.
Something.
Take that second. Every time most people get up and go to the bathroom in the morning, take that time to do that.
Yes.
There's always time. St. Francis wanted to be a channel. He asked to bring grace, love, forgiveness, harmony, truth, faith, hope, light, and joy to every human being he could.
Mm-hmm.
Then he asked for the same for himself. He asked for the treasures to come to him too. And he did this by self-forgetting. That's what it says in the thing.
Self what?
Self-forgetting. I want to Google that. I want to know exactly what they were talking about. Because I was thinking about that earlier. Step 11, prayer, self-forgetting. I'm not typing fast enough. I'm sorry. Okay. It says, focusing on self-forgetting, shifting from self-centeredness to service,
mm-hmm.
and fostering a connection with a higher power. So that's what it means. Is instead of worried about himself, he's worried about helping others.
Mm-hmm.
Self-forgetting is forgetting about oneself and moving more into being there for other people.
And it goes back to something that we do in step 4. Whenever we make our list and stuff, a lot of times we have to pray for that person that's given us those resentments. We have to pray for them 3 times harder than we pray for ourselves.
Have you had any results with that yet?
I'm still working on
Still working on them, okay.
But, yeah, there's a couple of them that kind of added. And that's working out good. But one, I'm having a hard time because it's just a back and forth in my head.
You're the one that's got to let go of that.
Well, it is. It's me trying to help. Well, it's me being more worried about someone than they are themselves.
I understand.
And I've got to let that go, you know?
No control over that.
And that's the thing, I don't have any control over it. It is what it is, you know, but it's still in my mind.
I understand. As rightly should be. Meditation has no rules or boundaries. It is essentially a individual adventure that something that each one of us works out in our own way. But the objective is always the same: to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, with His grace, wisdom, and love involved. One of our meditation's first fruit is emotional balance. So if you have emotional imbalances, the first thing that is supposed to happen to you when you start meditating is that balance is supposed to happen. Once again, there are many different forms of meditation. You can meditate. I mean, they talk about like candle lighting and sitting there staring at the flame, but or shutting off thoughts and just letting them go away. What works for you? Try different ones.
Yeah, that's what Google's for. Don't just try one thing and say, oh.
Because it's in many different spiritual programs. Try anything. All right, so we're going to move on. The second part of that is prayer. Prayer is raising the heart and mind to God, and in some sense is included in meditation. Prayer is commonly understood as a petition to God. God, would you? We ask for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. What that means is you're saying, hey, God, what you think is right for me, I need to be okay with that, accept that, and know that that's what you want. Versus me saying, well, God, I asked for a blue one, not a purple one. Being in God's will is not... For me, being in God's will is if He sends me a purple one or a blue one, instead of a blue one, I should be okay with the purple one and say, God, that's what you wanted for me. Thank you. Versus being, well, that's not what I wanted. You may ask for a specific solution to a specific problem. And
that's usually commonly known as the old 911
yes,
prayer.
That's correct. That's the foxhole prayer. But you should be very specific when you pray, and you always think you know what you need, but God does. He already knows what you need, so you must consider your requests very carefully. Specific prayers are very important because you can ask, "Hey, God, send me a blue Ferrari," and guess what? God may bring you a Ferrari, but it might not crank. So make sure you ask for one that cranks. All those specific things in prayer are very important. Each request must end with, if that be your will for me. God, if you give me a blue Ferrari that cranks in my driveway, that has all the parts working and beautiful out and inside and all that, that's got nothing wrong with it, God, it's not a Matchbox car, it's a real thing, if that be your will for me.
You wouldn't happen to be wanting a Ferrari?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It's examples here. I got to give people examples. Okay. I really want a DeLorean. I care nothing about a Ferrari. Okay, but they don't have colors usually. We ask for the grace by which we can carry out His will. God, give me the grace to carry out your will. Give me the knowledge, grace, and understanding of what you want from me and the power to help you do that.
Your will, my will is yours. I have no willpower.
That's right.
I have to hand that over every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I have zero willpower.
Mm-mm. We are powerless. Throughout the day, you can pause and renew your prayer too. So once you find out you want a blue Ferrari, but if you want it to have certain complications or certain things, you can stop and you can ask Him, hey God, can I have this too? I want black interior. You can add to it all day long. And His will be done, not mine. Repeating a prayer throughout the day that appeals to us, like the Serenity Prayer, will open up that channel and that conscious contact with God and permit us to do His will. So, one way to open a channel to God, and that's why a lot of people use rosary, is praying over and over. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And you say those prayers throughout the day, and it makes you God minded. It puts you in a space to where you can contact the God of your understanding, and you can have that direct link to Him. Throughout the day, I just say, God help me. God help me to do what you want me to do today. That's why lots of monks chant and say the things over and over again. It creates that bond.
Talking about the serenity prayer, something I want to share. My son got married this past Saturday.
Yay!
Beautiful wedding. I had my sober date with me, and she also is, working a program. She and I are very close. But I've been dealing with some family issues. I'm not going to elaborate on that at this moment. But my sober partner, she knew that it was bothering me, and I walked in the bathroom and I was like, "Are you in here?" And she said yes, and I was like, okay. So we're sitting there using the bathroom, and all of a sudden we just break out in the serenity prayer in 2 different stalls. I was like, God, and she went right along with me, and I said, I needed that.
You gotta understand, you're not in control. He is. And with that acceptance brings peace to you, doesn't it?
It does. And
it may not be perfect, but
I had to do it multiple times that day.
You will.
I have strange routines whenever I go out, and it's just something that I do to protect my sobriety. And that's if I'm in a place with like a bunch of people in a room. I bring my own cup, usually a drink with a lid on it. I'm very cautious about where I leave my drink. If I go outside to smoke, I'm like, I have to guard that drink. Because, somebody, you never know.
People are sick.
Yeah.
People are sick. I understand.
And it's nothing, I do that everywhere. I make sure that I have my cup marked. I make sure if I leave it alone, I'm like, guard this. Unless I'm taking it with me, I have somebody guarding it. Whether it's a restaurant or wherever. And that is a big part of me making sure, I'm making sure my sobriety is not at jeopardy by some accident or, picking down a cup and thinking, oh, well, this is so-and-so and it's really alcohol in it. I'm very...
Because one little slip and picking up the wrong drink and tasting it might change your whole world. You got to be careful. I'm glad you said that, y'all. Anybody who is battling alcoholism, take care of your stuff, because I don't necessarily have the same problem with alcohol as Kathy does. And if I were to pick up something with alcohol in it, I might just kind of spit it out and laugh or say that wasn't what I expected. But for someone like Kathy, that could be deadly. She could taste it and it could trigger a relapse. And, you must be careful. She's right.
That right there, I have heard about people going to family reunions and having their Stanley Cup and going to drink coffee and smelt it. I've heard of people going into a bar to do karaoke and had their glass, and people knew that he was sober and went over and spiked his drink just because.
Oh gosh, what is wrong with people?
They were being douchebags.
That's worse than being a douchebag.
And shit like that. I'm not saying I'm around any of those people or have been, but I'm still as cautious.
As you should be.
As I should be, because I hear those tales. And every time I hear one, I'm like, what the flip is wrong with people?
They're sick, is what it
And
is.
that right there, I hope, if I've ever pissed anybody off enough to do that to me, please, by all means, hit me up. Let's work that shit out. Because that is something that I am guarded. So, okay.
Yeah, you're right. You should be very careful and pay attention because people are sick in this world. As long as we follow the prayer that we said before, to love rather than to be loved, to understand and to be understood, we will have grasped what we needed from step 11. Once you've come to the understanding that you don't care if somebody understands you, you want to understand them, that you're not worried if they love you, you just want to give them love, and you have moved from being selfish to a servant, you have grasped step 11. And for me, step 11 was particularly hard. I still struggle with it. I really do, because, it's hard to feel like you get the crap end of the stick all the time. And, you're like, well, I just want to love this person and I don't care if they understand my point of view. But when you're really okay with it, it doesn't bother you that they don't understand you. It's hard. Becoming a new person, y'all, is not an easy feat. It's not something that is a game. It's not something that comes easy to people. This is hard, and it's detrimental not to do it for someone like Kathy and I. And it's a completely new way of living and a completely new way of thinking and being and acting and all the above. And without it, we'd be drinking and high again.
Well, there's only one thing you have to do, or that you have to change to never drink or do drugs again. And that one change is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you used to know, out.
You got to unlearn everything you thought you knew.
Yeah.
Because obviously the things you learned didn't work. So you got to learn a whole new way of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect, guys. It doesn't come overnight to people. It's not easy. It's not something that you go to bed one day and say, God, let me understand all this and make that change tomorrow morning. And hey, look, sometimes, I would say sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly.
They will
always materialize if you work for them. So, I believe that each and every one of you can do this. I believe that that this program works for anyone who is willing to try it. I believe that it changes people and it changes people's lives for the better. I haven't heard anyone ever say, well, I worked the 12 steps and my life's still shit. As a matter of fact, it's worse than it was. I've never heard anybody say that.
I have.
I haven't.
I have.
I've never heard anybody tell me that their life is actually worse because of the 12 steps.
Not worse, just it didn't do shit for them,
Did you think they gave it their all?
I don't know, not my business.
Well, I'm just saying, someone that would say that it didn't work for them, I'm wondering if you feel like that they did try to do it. Because anybody I've ever known that's tried it said that it changed their life.
That's the only person that I've ever heard say that. And, I don't know what effort he put in. He's been sober a long time, but I don't know what kind of effort he put in.
I do know
he may be, and I say this a lot, a dry drunk. And for some, that works for them. Kudos. Whatever gets you to bed at night sober and you wake up sober.
I've never been satisfied with the bare minimum, though. I've never been satisfied with the bare minimum. I've never been satisfied with just stopping. Like, there had to be a change in me or I stayed miserable. That's why I used. I was miserable. So I had to change something in order to not.
You had to change everything.
Yeah, I had to change everything. Which, let me tell y'all, I am nowhere near close. I am not the authority on this. I am just someone who has worked the steps, and wants the results that I've gotten for other people, which is the service part of this step. And that's what
That's
I
our
want.
next step.
Yes, so we will be back with step 12 next week. We also have a few really cool guest stars. I'm not going to say anything right now about who they are because we always like to make them surprised when they come on. But we do have a few really cool guest stars coming on in the next few weeks.
Guest speakers.
Speakers, yes. I say guest stars, whatever they are. They're stars in my book.
Okay.
So they'll be here, and we also have a few other things in the works, and maybe some more series that we're going to do. If there is something you want us to talk about,
Yes, we did have a request for about
grief, right?
grief,
And which on the way for that individual, I have that worked out for you. And that is coming. So please, if you have something you want touched on,
and that
let
should
us
be
know.
about 3 weeks.
Something like that. I'm going to get with the lady that's going to come on.
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and tell you she's a friend of mine that is a psychologist, and she works with grief. And when I asked her about it, because the girl had requested it, apparently grief, alcoholism, and addiction are very closely they work kind of hand in hand. So she's going to come on and talk about that for this individual. So like I said, we are more than willing to touch on anything. If that's what y'all want to hear about, we'll do it.
Hey, whatever needs to be done.
Yes,
we will do.
We will do it. We want to do this for y'all. We do get something out of it, but this is why we do this, to help y'all.
And also, Haley Sherlock has a Heart of Newton page up. Please go like and share that page. Show her some love. She is trying her best to do everything she needs to do to get Newton County up and ready for the symposium in June. It's June 13th. It's on a Saturday. Jessica and I will be there. Come by and see us. But Haley can't do it alone. You don't have to live in Newton County to help her. If you are someone who is maybe a second chance employer, or someone who has a special set of skills that could help people in recovery,
even if you don't know if you can help, call her and she can, there's something that you can do. Look, she needs volunteers. Her ultimate goal is to bring a RCO to Newton County.
Well, yes, it's already up and going. They're hopefully going to have a building,
a brick and mortar building by January, I think, is the goal. So y'all go like her page and share it.
Great girl. I mean, I saw her at another speaking thing, and her story was just incredible. And I didn't even know she had Heart of Newton until
we both actually saw her simultaneously speaking at two different things within a matter of a week, and both of us fell in love with her. And
I'm trying to think. I think somebody just hit me up with her, and I was like, oh, okay. And I put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, yeah. So her story, the first time she told it was incredible. So go show her some love. She's a real good girl.
If you missed that, she was here a couple of weeks ago, and you can go back and find her on our YouTube page.
It's on all the pages.
Also on pages.
And her numbers, or her phone number, or Heart of Newton's phone number is 470-345-6394. Hit her up on Facebook. She has got a lot going on. I mean, look at what all she's doing. She is busy.
On top of being just an amazing human being,
and on top of working,
she's a good lady.
She really is. And on top of her own recovery, that's a full-time job in itself, by the way. But yeah, she's really doing a lot of great things. So please go support her, and also, a like and share doesn't cost you a damn thing.
Not a dime.
So, even that much, come on.
Like and share us too. We love it. So I'm going to get through a couple of numbers that we always share. We have a helpline, which is just general help for drug and alcohol and mental health. 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. FindTreatment.gov is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We have a Kratom helpline, 866-210-1303. The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is 988. We also have a CARES Warm Line, which is a peer support member, just like me, just like Kathy, that have gone through things and can talk to you and help you guide yourself through a recovery situation. They are open 8:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. at 1-844-326-5400. Once again, Heart of Newton, 470-345-6394. And with that, we're going to pray.
Yay. All right.
God,
Grant
me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen. And as always, if no one tells you today they love you, we do.
We love y'all so much, and we appreciate all y'all's love and support. Y'all have a great week, and we will see y'all next week. Oh, happy Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah, that's tomorrow. We're pre-filming because we're going to go work at the Alison Krauss concert.
Happy Mother's Day, y'all.
Bye.